What up? What up? This is Late Night Live, episode 21, you guys. Welcome to the show. We got with us Ace of Jacks Media Grounds. Chris, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. It's been a good week of gaming.
Excellent. Yeah, it has been. Dathan, 8-bit gaming legend.
Good evening, class. I echo what Chris said. It has been a good week of gaming. Yes.
Yeah. So, thanks for coming on. Oh, we already got some comments. Adam, Dark Empire, happy Memorial Day weekend, guys. Have a great show. Let's see if I can we'll get the chat going here again. That worked good last week.
There we go.
Yeah, beautiful. So I'm now using Restream 2.0, so I'm gonna hopefully the transitions look a little nicer, and we'll see how things go today. So anyway, it's gonna be a fun week to talk about games. Seems like we picked up a lot of games. I don't know if you guys did. I did, and a lot of gaming news out there. Atari is buying Intellivision. There is a new leak about Doom, so I wanted to go over that. I don't know if you guys saw that. Pretty cool. IGN is buying out other companies now.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing my San Francisco hat because it looks like we are getting a Nintendo store in downtown San Francisco. And people are mad about it for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's crazy.
I'm not mad. I was like, just Seattle. I mean, Nintendo's there. Just go to Seattle. It's right there.
Seattle would have been nice, but
yeah.
If you had a second option, I think San Francisco would be right there.
I mean, West Coast is West Coast the best coast, as they say. But yeah, having one a little bit closer than New York, obviously, it's good deal.
Alikrian, how you doing, sir? Thank you for coming on, my friend. I think San Francisco is great. It gives me more reason to go down there, and there's a huge Japanese culture already right there. Silicon Valley, the Bay Area, they're already into tech as much as anyone. And I hope all I got to say is, like, if it's, they just need to have it right next to the BART station, so you can just take the BART. That's the Bay Area Rapid Transit, and you don't even need a car. I just want to go down there, do my shopping, and go to somewhere else. So it'll be great. So perfect. What did you guys play last week, Chris? I saw you were playing some cool stuff on your channel.
I played. They dropped a game called Indigo Park. It's supposed to be a like horror game series. Of chapter 1 they released. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't really a scary game, but it's like 50 minutes long to play through it. I also finished a game on my Switch called Avoid Hope. It's a 2D pixelated kind of puzzle adventure game where everybody's lost their memories and you're having to go through and find a cure. It's about a 4-hour long game. Took me to beat it. And then I also picked up the remake of System Shock, which I thought they'd already done a remake of it, and I realized that System Shock 2 is the one that got released on Steam a few years back. And you can't play it on Steam without going through mods.
Yeah, well, I also picked up System Shock, but I think they released it on the remake that I just got. They released it on Steam last year, but the console port just came out. So
yeah, and that's the first Xbox game I've probably bought since Game Pass came out.
There you go. Nice.
So it certainly was one of those that I picked up. I also picked up Unicorn Overlord for the Switch. And I was kind of expecting a strategy game, but it plays itself. So all you do is pick your character, move them to where they fight, and then the battle auto plays. So it's not a real strategy game, which is disappointing, but the story seems to be interesting.
So it was no little kitty big city, huh?
No little kitty big city.
All right, that's disappointing.
I did start Hellblade 2, but I didn't get very far in it.
We'll talk about Hellblade 2. Dathan, did you get a chance to do anything?
So I have not got Hellblade 2 yet. Hoping to do that sometime early this week. I played pretty much just 3 games. I got the DLC for Vampire Survivors, the Contra DLC.
Oh, okay. Nice.
If you have Game Pass, I think it was only like $2.12 or something like that. It was super cheap.
Yeah.
Pretty fantastic. It's pretty good. I've been cranking through Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now with the new game announced, I just got to kind of plow through this one just to kind of get it done with. And I hit up some Transformers Devastation to play on the Portal when I have some, a few minutes here and there. Because that's a game that you can play for 20 minutes and then just put down.
Right. Cool.
But that's pretty much it for gaming for the week. So it wasn't a whole lot of different games, but it was a lot of those 3 games. It was just it was a lot. But other than that was about it.
Dope. Well, Chris, we can let's talk about Hellblade. You did get to play a little bit of it, you said?
Yeah, I started it up and I was sitting there watching the opening cinematic, and without realizing it had gone into the actual game. So I was like, why'd she stop moving? Why is my character just standing there looking like an idiot right now? And then I'm like, oh, the actual gameplay looks a bit better than the cinematics, to be honest. So when I got into the actual game, I was like, this is pretty impressive looking.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. It really throws you in there, and the visuals for this game might be some of the best I've ever seen on any game. It's very lifelike. You can tell they did a lot of mocap for it, and everything you get some really dark moments in this game, and I had the lights out when I first played it. Uh, the man, they really did an outstanding job of the visuals. I think a lot of people have issue with the game is maybe the gameplay is not as intense as I'll compare it to Stellar Blade because we've been playing that a lot. Uh, it's just not as technical. Like you don't have to memorize move sets or anything like that. It's you do a lot of pressing up and makes your character walk ahead. And then there's puzzles you have to get to, and you have to figure out how to solve the puzzle, and that'll take a little bit of time. But once you do that, you'll move on to a battle mechanic, and you've got to. I think the fighting is not that intense. Well, it's I don't know if intense is the right word. It's not that challenging, and it looks like there's no real difficulty setting in the game. So like I don't. It's just the same every time you play. But the visuals are so dang good. It looks like you're watching a movie. You'll get to a part, and I haven't beaten the game. I think I'm on the last chapter now. You get to a game where you go in, part of the game where you go in this cave, and it's like completely black, and you got to figure out where the light is, and you got to walk toward the light. If you go the wrong way, these dead things come and kill you, and it's pretty freaky. Um,
I heard
so
if you play with headphones or anything, it
yes,
definitely enhances the gameplay. That's what I hear.
it tells you right at the beginning if you have headphones, use them, and
Okay.
I would agree. And it's got this the other thing that's going on. There's if you played the other Hellblade, I guess this happens, but you have many voices in your head that are talking to you, like multiple voices, like I think it could be multiple facets of your personality. But you're just walking along, and then your voices start talking to you, and you'll get some in this side of your head, you'll get some in this side of your head, and then there's other parts of the game where they all talk in unison at the same time, and it really takes you back, like whoa. And then there's other parts when the voices talk in your head, and then your character will talk back to the voices. I'm like, whoa.
So how does
So
it? How does it? I never played the first one. How does it compare to the first one? Is it more of the same, or is it a different direction?
I never played the first one either.
Okay.
I've gone back to play the first one, so I was playing the first one this week again, because I was like, I should really play through the first one to kind of get a feel for the story, and I think they do a fairly good job of explaining the story at the beginning of the second one, so you don't really have to play the first one to get it. But it very much is a lot of puzzles in the first one. There, I've had a couple of fight sequences I've come across, but it also does start out with you need. They recommend headphones because it's supposed to be she's got schizophrenia, psychosis, and so it's like voices constantly talking to her throughout. And so with the headphones, it kind of gives you this sense of, oh, am I hearing voices in my head too? Graphically though, the first one is nowhere near as good looking as this one is.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it's outdated. And even the controls for the first one are kind of sluggish. So when it comes to fighting, I was finding that there's like you're finding the fighting is not as fluid as you want it to be in the first one. So I don't know with the second one if they improve the fighting, the combat or not, but it certainly is an interesting game, and I do want to finish it and then try the second one, go through there.
I think there's not too many games that use that Unreal Engine 5. and at least I haven't played too many. I think RoboCop was one last year that I think used it, but not too many other ones. I think these guys have had a lot of good time to play with this engine, and they've really taken full advantage of it. Elite Korean, I played and beat the first one. I played the first 20 minutes of the second. The voices were there in the first, but they're used better narratively, at least so far. Elite Korean, how far are you in the game? I think it said I was almost 6 hours into it. I'm gonna beat it this weekend. That's the other thing I want to commend this game for. It's not 100-hour game. And that feels so good to like say, like, as I guess an older gamer, like, you don't have to, this isn't like a total time suck. It's just going to be a weekend for you, I think, or just a couple nights, and you'll be able to just do it. I don't think this is a game you're going to want to replay. Just do it once. It's free on Game Pass, and just do it, enjoy it. It's not the most like intense game. Well, there's definitely intense parts of it, but it's not the most like controller intense, is what I mean. And just enjoy the experience of the movie. And here we go. Here's Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Apologies for my tardiness.
It's okay. We were
That's
just talking
two
about
demerits.
Hellblade.
That's a dissatisfaction right there.
Yeah, I understand.
So, anyway, what was I talking about? But Hellblade. Anyway, I think it's worth a recommendation. Is it probably going to be the best game of the year? I don't know. I think it's going to definitely win awards for the graphics and sound design. Just watch at the end of the year for awards on that. But is it going to be the best game of the year? Probably not, but you're going to enjoy it. Is my thoughts right now. Elite Korean, just the first 20 minutes right after the first couple fights. The weakest part of the first game was the combat, and I immediately recognized they haven't improved that, unfortunately. The other interesting thing too, if you look at Metacritic, I guess this game is reviewing exactly the same as the first game. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But as long as I think Microsoft has already greenlit like a new game, so they could do a third one. As long as they're happy, I guess, and they're not going to shut them down, which I would be worried about if you're owned by Microsoft. Seems like now, then things are good. And it does. I also, for a game that they didn't really advertise, like, did you guys see any commercials for this game? I didn't. So
I just saw it pop up on the dashboard on the Game Pass, and that was it. That's how I
yeah,
thought about it.
such weak sauce. Like, Microsoft has so much money, and they could have promoted the hell out of this thing. They did nothing. But whatever. Yeah, Elite Korean, exactly. No matter how I feel, though, Microsoft should have marketed it way harder.
Yeah, they should have. It's they're trying to push Game Pass so hard right now that it.
If they're trying to push Game Pass so hard, why not push? This is like their AAA game for this fiscal quarter. Why, like, push subscribers? Like, we have this on Game Pass. Come play it. Nothing.
No, they're oddly being quiet on everything that they're putting out. And I know they've got coming up here on June 6th, I believe, is the Microsoft Showcase.
I wanted to touch up on that real quick. I had a rumor came out today on the showcase. So right immediately following, they're going to do a showcase for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. And there is a rumor that there is going to be a campaign mission that is going to be dedicated to 9/11. Now, I was reading some tweets that there's already going to be issues with that being played. I remember in one of the Black Ops games, there was a mission where you were able to skip because you would go into single player campaign. You go into an airport and you would, you basically like gun down a bunch of people in an airport, but they made it so that you could skip it and it wouldn't have any. The mission didn't have any bearing on the game or anything like that. It was just like a side thing that they. But I've been hearing a bunch of, it's too soon to put something like a mission like that. Now, I don't even know they didn't say what the mission was, where it is or anything like that. But I'm kind of curious as to what your take on that. You think it's a good idea to put something like that in there? Is it too soon, or is it just like, how do you guys feel about that?
I think we need to figure out what it is exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say it. I mean, if it's supposed to be like a group goes in to try and rescue people during 9/11, there's a possibility of taking and doing it in such a way that it doesn't dismiss what happened or kind of show the first responders in a negative light or anything. But I mean, it'd be really weird if you're on an airplane and you're supposed to hijack it to fly it into.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Because if that's the way they go, is like you're on a plane and you're supposed to like hijack the plane to do some kind of mission there where you jump out at the last second as the plane's flying into something that's kind of like, I don't know about that.
It's a little tactless at that point.
Yeah, because kind of what you were saying, because if let's say that the mission was you're on a plane and you're trying to
Travis is here.
And you're on a plane and you're trying to save the plane and you don't do it, does it, does the screen just go black and say try again, or does it show something? Does it show like, the plane crashing or something like that? So there were a bunch of rumors about it, and I don't really know how to, until, like you said, until they actually have some sort of concrete, like what the mission is. I mean,
like if you're playing as a CIA guy putting charges on load-bearing members because obviously it was an inside job, then yeah, that's cool. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was seeing how long I could go before I broke.
Yeah,
But I just thought that was an interesting concept, and I think Olikarian said like the infamous no Russian level in Modern Warfare 2, where you are in an airport and you basically just walk in and you are just with machine guns just shooting people, and they did give you the option, like if you want to skip the mission, hold B and you'll just go on to the next thing, or you can play the mission.
Yeah, well that level, it was you were supposed to be an operative in this I believe he was an arms dealer and you had to go with him. You're kind of deep undercover, and he goes into an airport and like you're just supposed to mow down civilians so you can kind of keep in with that whole thing. But it was also one of those that's like nobody wants to really go and shoot a bunch of civilians in the airport. And so for a lot of people, it was like, oh, this is too close to reality, so we'll just skip this level. We don't want to play this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's a video game, and if, like most video games, if you're having a hard time differentiating between that and reality, it might be time to step away.
So I think there's a case to be made about using kind of an offensive or potentially offensive game style, play style, to teach a lesson. Like I'm going to screw up the details on this, but there's a board game I think that's called Train, I believe, and you're meant to only play it once because you're building this train network and you get these objectives and you grow the network larger, and then you start shipping this cargo, and then you get these communiques during the game that you realize you're in Nazi Germany and you're building trains to concentration camps, and the cargo is people. And so you don't know that at the beginning of the game, but you slowly discover that, and I think that builds this kind of moral quandary of like, do I want to win this game at this point? So yeah, I think there's a place for mechanics like that, but I don't know that simulating a hijacking of 9/11 is
Yeah.
going to teach
It would
us
definitely
we haven't already
get
learned.
people talking about it. It probably would get attention of like senators and stuff. And I don't know if that's attention the video game industry needs right now. Leakrian says, ever since Modern Warfare Call of Duty has been historical fiction, whereas almost always fake events, famed to be believable and informed by real events. I could believe a 9/11 like event.
Sure.
But maybe it's not exactly 9/11, but something fictional happens like that. I can see them doing that.
Yeah.
There was an adventure game called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream that was based off Harlan Ellison's stuff, right? And I believe, if I recall correctly, that whole game was fixated on you being thrust into moral situations. And I don't remember how it played out in the game, but I believe you had to do some immoral things to benefit your character, or what we would consider now immoral, right? Based off the time, or based off where we are now versus where things were then, in order to get through the game. I can't remember exactly, but I mean, so I think, in other words, the argument it's not new to the video game world. It's just now that video games are so mainstream, I think that, yeah, to your point, it would pick up probably negative press as opposed to the positive press, right? Or the positive attention. I suppose you could always think that any news is good news, I suppose, if you're thinking of it that way. But
you get
I
people
kind of don't think that way.
You get people outside of the video game, people that don't play video games talking about it. So maybe bad news, maybe any news is good news for them. I don't, but it would probably sell a lot of copies, and maybe that's what they want.
I guess
we gotta wait
over that. Yeah, I kind of wish that we'd be past that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, well, I mean, today it was announced that the families of the Uvalde shooting have sued Activision and Meta over Call of Duty and their hand in that whole school shooting, or the alleged links to, gun violence in video games and social media. So there are people who look at it and go, hey, this is causing violence, whether or not it's true. Because if you go back and look at the statistics, since video games have kind of become mainstream, the amount of shootings, or the amount of crime that has gone on, violent crime with kids, has actually dropped over the years because they have something to do. So there's definitely a link there where it's kind of helped keep people busy and out of trouble, having access to games. But over the years, I mean, there was a period of time there where movies were the cause of violence, and before that it was books. So there's always something to blame for somebody doing something evil in the world. If it wasn't for art, we probably wouldn't have had Hitler to begin with. The fact they didn't let him in art school, he could have been fine.
I blame the artists for World War II.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if that lawsuit, what happens. I don't know what they can prove there. So
yeah, I don't know either. It was something I was reading. You were talking about Activision, and I saw that they'd announced 35 minutes ago. They'd announced this.
For one, I want a game, but like I don't want to do anything too heavy and nothing too depressing and makes you like think about the Holocaust or something like that. It would just like really bring me down. And just playing Hellblade 2, and you're like it feels like you're in hell. Like that was like my limit right there.
Really?
Like if you go even deeper than that, like I gotta check out. Like I can't do it. Did you guys see this? Just came out, and I was just talking about it. The next Doom is called Doom: The Dark Ages, and this is being reported on. Looks like Jez Corden at Windows Central. They're gonna take Doom back to it, well, like an older style, kind of like Doom. And yeah, rumors are swirling that while we have the next Doom, it's on the docket for an imminent reveal. It's going to be a prequel of sorts. It's going to be multi-platform on Xbox and PlayStation.
What are the weapons going to be like? Like, is it?
I wonder if it's going to be like
magic
swords, and yeah, it could be magic,
sword and sorcery, or just like, yeah, I don't know, because the weapons are a huge part of that game.
Hey, Biggie D.
And if you're stuck
Biggie D's here, nice.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it almost feels like it would be. I mean, like Quake kind of did that.
Yeah, I was thinking Quake 2.
Dark
You're
Ages thing, yeah, except it had guns. And to Eric's point, like if they're trying to go back to a medieval sort of thing, then
it feels like Hexen. You know, do you guys remember?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I do. I sure do. I thought that when they were saying that they were going back, I thought that they meant more like for gameplay, less of the super fast action that was in Doom Eternal, and then the Doom reboot. And I actually thought that would be unfortunate if they did, because I thought that those two games played really, really fun. For somebody that played hours and hours and hours of Doom and Doom 2, I thought that those games were a lot of fun and made me feel like when you first come across that Doom at that age, right? So yeah, if they were stepping back to that, I was kind of like, well, I'll give it a shot, but that's too bad if they're stepping backwards.
Well, I wonder if they're going to try and explain, like Doom 2016, they find him in the sarcophagus, and as you play the game, they kind of reveal that he had already gone through and he was wiping out like all the generals of hell, and the only way they could stop him was to like trap him inside this thing. So it's like, is that what this is going to be? Is we're going to get to actually go back and like just ultra violent go through hell?
I'm impressed that you remember what any semblance of plot in the Doom. For some reason, when I hit start on that, any of the cutscenes and everything, straight over the head.
Yeah,
and I just
the reason I remember it is because it wasn't in the cutscenes. You had to go find this within the game. There were literally
the like little logs, right?
The little logs, and you read them, and I was like, oh, they actually have like a in-depth story as to why like all of hell is just terrified of this one guy. And it's
I fired up Doom Eternal 2 weeks ago, and last night I looked at it as I was getting ready to play a game, and I thought, man, maybe I should go back in. Now you talking about it is making me, because I didn't pay any attention to the logs in the Doom reboot, and I really, really, really liked it. I just was like, whatever, it's Doom. Come on. And just from point A to point B sort of thing. So now you're making me wonder if I should go back and play through those again and actually pay attention to the lore in it.
Yeah, Biggie D says he played a lot of Doom Eternal on his Switch Lite. It actually plays really good on that small screen. Yeah, I heard they really optimize it really well.
Interesting.
I'm surprised. I'm continually surprised at what games run on Switch.
Yeah.
Well, the Doom games are super, super optimized.
Well, ID is known for that.
Yeah, they are. If there's one thing that you could give somebody and say, hey, if you want a game in 4K and you've got like a system that should be able to do it, the Doom games are the ones that you can hand off. They run really, really, really well, even on sub systems that you wouldn't think could go that extra mile.
Another topic, speaking of games that run really well, Chris, did you see this? I thought you guys seeing that? No, I'm not.
Still on the Doom demon.
Don't. I was going to talk about there's a new Astrobot game coming out.
Oh, I heard about that.
I had heard about that too.
So it looks like there might be if Xbox is doing a showcase, there might be a state of play coming soon, and maybe they put out a sequel to Astro's Playroom near the end of the year. I think I'd be totally for that. So
I don't know about you, but you cannot play that game and be in a bad mood.
nah.
It's just
Yeah,
such
exactly.
it's just such a happy go game that's simple. It's simplistic, and it's just a good game. The soundtrack, it's good.
What is it called?
Astrobot.
Yeah, Astrobot.
Is it?
Well, and the fact that it's literally just a demo of what the PlayStation 5 could do. That was the way it was designed, and you're able to find like all these collectible items throughout it. It really is. It's just a fun like game to play that really doesn't, beyond like being able to see PlayStation 2 and PlayStation and like all these things throughout the history of the PlayStation as collectible digital items. It's kind of cool.
But it is a PlayStation exclusive then, yeah. Honestly, at that point, yeah. When you were saying that, Dathan, it reminded me of when I had COVID and I played Stardew Valley.
Okay.
That was kind of that like happy-go-lucky, just give me something to do, and the music is pleasant, and you're just running a farm.
Yeah, that was my wife with
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Is that right? Yeah, because somebody that appeared immediately in my Steam thing after I got over COVID. I was like, okay, I'm done with that. And then immediately it was like, hey, you might enjoy Animal Crossing. You might enjoy it. And I was like, no, I think I'm good. But thanks. Next time.
If you like Stardew Valley, there is one called Graveyard Keeper.
Is that the one that he did? Like, isn't he working on a new sort of a little bit darker toned game?
He does have a new one, but Graveyard Keeper was essentially like Stardew Valley, but you had to like take the bodies and go through like the process of prepping them for embalming, and then like dig the graves. So instead of a garden, it's a graveyard. Is what you're having.
That's really good.
Keep up. It wasn't optimized very well, so it's like really slow on every system.
No, bummer.
Yeah. I do like the happy-go-lucky games, though. I mean, like that's, the VR had a couple of those experiences, right? Where they were just more like just get your mind off things and take a look at stuff like this. That I think that's kind of fun, actually, in contrast to what we were just talking about. Gaming can be good for that.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie Korean says, check out Haunted Chocolatier. It's a new one.
Yeah, by Concerned 8. That's the name. Yeah. That's the name of the game.
I will have to add that to the list.
Yeah.
And then there were you saw IGN acquired what was it?
They acquired a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. We were just talking about it because I said that I randomly stumbled onto it, and then you guys were like, hey, there's controversy there. And then like 3 days later, it's like IGN bought everybody.
Well, and they've got their IGN Live, which sounds like it's going to be their attempt to try and revitalize E3.
Yeah.
Because they announced that there will be demos of upcoming games at it for people who show up to their event. Another one, Nintendo acquired Shriever. What was it? Shriever.
It's a production studio. It looks like they did the Switch port of Mortal Kombat 1 to the Switch, and they've done other small things like that. But I bet for that, I think Nintendo always makes good acquisitions from what I can tell, and they'll use that to optimize it for the new games for their new platform coming out.
Yeah, it's a good choice for them to do, is bring in a company that works on ports.
But I back to the IGN thing. Like, I don't know if IGN buying out these other media outlets is a good thing at all. And that's why I kind of like people need to prop up like shows like ours. I think it's like, let's have a little more independent thought, and some of this garbage coming up for IGN. They have so many writers on there. It's like, I just don't know. I don't watch their stuff anymore, so I don't want to, and it just doesn't appeal to me at all. And I don't have a media bias or anything, but I don't know if it's good that if all media is owned by the same company.
Oh, that's bad. That's
bad.
explicitly bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Intellivision has been bought out by Atari?
I saw that last night. Yeah.
What do you guys have any history with Intellivision at all?
That feels 40 years too late, right?
Yeah.
It feels a little bit like, okay, now we win. You know?
Yeah.
Like you really can't let a grudge go at that point, man.
She's
gone. It's gonna be okay.
It gets there's like a whole community online devoted to this. Well, there was a community for their Amico that was going to come out a couple years ago by Tommy Tallarico. I guess he was the founder. Yep. And it never came out. And I guess they came out with some games and stuff that I don't know how much people spent on this thing, but never came out. People were so pissed. And yeah, Biggie D, my arcade might have an Intellivision console in partnership with Atari. That's interesting. Atari, they're buying out everything. But anyway, it's really interesting that Atari has bought them out now, because I've talked about Atari before, that I think they're interested in buying some of these properties. It sounds like they're not interested in restarting this console that they were supposedly going to do a couple years ago, but they are interested in their games that they owned. And I
think at PAX last year they had some sort of they had a demo stand-up arcade thing.
Okay,
if I remember right, so they do have a presence in the arcade area, I think.
Biggie D, like, here's my thought. And Biggie D's in the chat. He's really into the Arcade 1-Up stuff, as kind of I have been. Arcade 1-Up, I feel, has been so dead this year. I guess there's some rumors coming out now that they're going to do a Frogger XL and an Outrun XL, but it's nothing new. I feel like they are totally ripe to get bought out by a company. And if they are going to get bought out by a company, my number one pick for them to get sold to is Atari. So just remember, I said it first, Biggie D. So please give me credit when it happens. Maybe they won't buy it tomorrow, but maybe in 6 months or something. Check it. I don't know. I got a feeling Atari is buying companies just like Atari, Arcade 1-Up, and right now, Arcade 1-Up has no direction, I feel like. They haven't even posted on Twitter in like 3 or 4 months. It's crazy. They're doing weird stuff on Instagram, and he'll tell you. And go to his channel, everybody. He'll like what are they doing right now? They have an office, and I don't know what are they paying their staff for. I want a Crystal Crystal Castles would be a good cabinet. Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's lines of Coke is what they're paying their employees.
I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I don't know what they're paying them right now for. So anyway, that's my thoughts right now. And yeah, it sounds like some of you guys, something's gonna happen with that. Anyway,
well, and apparently, if you go on Atari's website, you can buy yourself an Intellivision brand
T-shirt.
shirt now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even them, like Arcade 1-Up, you can't buy an Arcade 1-Up branded shirt. But Atari, if they buy them out, I get you. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to be able to buy a shirt. What? It's smart. It's like easy money for them. Just make even Xbox or whatever. Everyone has a shirt thing where you can buy brands and stuff and get a T-shirt. Like Arcade 1-Up can't even do that for some reason. Whatever. It's so silly. Like I don't know what business degrees some of these people have. I'm not trying to knock on Arcade One Up tonight, but I just feel like they have a lot of low hanging fruit out there. I think Atari themselves are trying to bolster themselves to look ripe for acquisition. Atari has been the sad brand for a couple decades now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a completely different company than Atari. The original Atari shut down. I don't know what year that was, 1984 or 5 or...
It was about 7 hours after ET was released.
Yeah.
That's when that...
So this is a completely different company, but they've taken the Atari name. But I speaking of Atari too, they are putting out a new version of Yar's Revenge, like a new sequel, and it looks like it's coming to the Switch. I might check it out. Thank you, Biggie D. You're the man. Everyone go subscribe to Biggie D. So, what else do you guys want to... I wanted to talk about Paper Mario. Did any of you guys pick up Paper Mario?
Not yet.
No,
I got it in my background. I played it for an hour today.
How is it?
It's fun. It's very similar to a Mario RPG. If you got that, and my son is just learning to read right now, and there's no like actual voice dialogue in the game. There's a lot of text, so I felt like I was just reading a lot to my son today, and reading all the dialogue. But it's going to be good. I feel it's not going to be too difficult, and the more I'm curious, like the longer I get into it, am I going to like Mario RPG better, or am I going to like this better? Sounds like the reviews, people are thinking this is the best Mario RPG there is. So we'll see how it goes. I do like these kind of lighter games compared to some of the darker stuff like Hellblade. You got to balance it out. But this is going to be a time sink, and let's do it. So I don't know. You guys are you guys planning on picking it up? Oh, Meatball Saucy's here. Thank you, sir.
Hey.
Nice.
I do plan on picking it up. I did beat Mario RPG this week too.
So you did? Yeah, nice.
I got that one done. Certainly want to play that one. I've got Paper Mario: The Origami King for the Switch, and I have yet to finish that one.
They need to port more GameCube games to the Switch. There's not too many that they've ported. Like I can think of this one.
Prime.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime was the other one, but that is another one that maybe they're holding off on some of this stuff for the new Nintendo console. Alikrian says 1,000 Year Door has some fantastic fans. I like the first Paper Mario and Super RPG over it myself. So yeah, should be fun. Should be fun. Nintendo's got a lot of cool stuff coming out. They got the new Luigi's Mansion 2 remake coming out next month, and my family is stoked for that.
That was a good one. I played that on the 3DS.
Did you guys play the Luigi's Mansion arcade game that they have at Next Level?
I didn't see it though.
It is crazy fun. Yeah, it is crazy fun. They give you a big vacuum.
Oh yeah, okay, I did see it.
And it's 2-player, and it's just like the game or the console game, but like you got this big thing and you're shooting it, and it's a lot of fun.
I'm gonna be there tomorrow, so I'll probably.
Are you really?
Mess around with that, yeah.
What time are you going?
I think we're supposed to be there at 1.
Maybe I can convince my my wife to let me go. I want to go again quick.
Yeah, it's my niece's birthday, so they.
Meatball Saucy is adding Kingdom Hearts to the Steam Deck. Yeah, I heard it's coming out on Steam.
Yeah. What are they releasing? 1, 2, and 3?
It's like 1+2 or 1.5, and yeah, there's like 2 different versions.
HD 1.5, 2.5, 2.8, 3 Remind. So they're releasing 3 different games on Steam. Yeah, I don't know. That's
Chris, have you heard any updates for Wolverine on PlayStation?
I'm trying to remember when they said, was that next year it's supposed to come out?
Well, when is Venom coming out? I think Venom is coming out before Wolverine, right? Or maybe there's another Spider-Man game coming out. It seems like we've talked about this before.
We're getting old. We can't remember what we talked about last time.
Yeah. They're definitely working on it.
Yeah.
I thought they pushed Wolverine back quite a bit because of the leak where everything came out and the gameplay, and I think I think it's just TBD at this point.
Alikrian says just today there won't be any news soon about it. But we'll keep an eye out for you. I know Eric's a big Wolverine fan, right?
Oh yeah.
Eric, do you have a PlayStation?
I don't.
But would you get a PlayStation if a Wolverine game came out?
It depends. If it's like if it pushes all the nostalgia buttons for me, like if it's the Jim Lee style and like Sabretooth is one of the big baddies in it, then yeah, I could see myself doing it. The Silver Samurai's in it. Yeah, you'd have to push all the buttons though.
Say they push all the buttons, you do it. Cool.
Yeah, I probably would.
We'll just push your buttons.
But I need the Wolverine game on what, Super Nintendo. That's like the last Wolverine game I played, and it was garbage.
I remember that game.
It was fun. I mean, it was fun because I liked Wolverine, but it was a bad game.
I think there's been some bad X-Men games and Wolverine games through the years.
Oh, what was which one was the one on the Xbox 360? They had released a Wolverine game. X-Men Origins Wolverine Uncaged. Did you guys ever play that one?
Oh, that one was okay, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
You watch, the movie was garbage, but the game was actually pretty good.
Yeah, can you tell? Yeah, Alikrian thinks exactly like Chris here. X-Men Origins Wolverine was such a good game for such a bad movie. Yeah, the video game was better than the movie.
Sure.
That doesn't happen too often.
No.
Oh, really? Meatball Saucy? You still have an II arcade? You installed 9 new games to it. If you guys didn't know, the iArcade lost support last year, and there's no way to. Well, they aren't going to be officially adding games, so you must have modded it somehow. That's cool.
Oh, I finally downloaded Delta on the iPhone.
Oh, you did?
A few weeks ago. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it kind of wears off after a while.
There's a new one you can get now. There's a couple. There's a different one. There's a PlayStation portable emulator you can get.
Yeah, I saw that.
You can now get RetroArch.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that usually everyone runs on their Raspberry Pis and stuff like that.
I mean, it's nice to be able to just download the stuff directly. You don't have to hook it up to a computer or anything like that.
Exactly.
So that's pretty nice. And I did hit up a little bit of River City Ransom the other day because it's been a long time since I played that. So that was kind of fun. Good. But do I see myself, constantly playing this? Probably not too much, but if I've got some time to kill, I'm in a waiting room or the DMV or something like that, then
you're at the airport.
I'll throw something on there.
Mm-hmm. Travis, Eric, what game? We didn't talk to you. What games have you been playing this week? Did you guys play any games?
Yeah. So I've been playing 2 games. I started playing Dune 2 or Dune 2 Legacy, which is a update of the Dune 2 game that came out in, I think, 92. And it was the first real-time strategy that made real-time strategy games popular, I think. So all of, Command and Conquer and like StarCraft and Warcraft all owe a debt of gratitude to that game. But the update allows you to do things like play multiplayer and select multiple units, which is like some quality of life things that were lacking in the original implementation of the game. So I started playing that again, and that was a fun nostalgia kick with, like I said, the added quality of life things make it playable on a modern machine. So that was fun. And then, like I said, I was going to pick up Dredge. I've been playing Dredge. And I feel like I'm about 80% done with that now. I was going to ask you guys, Chris, you played Dredge, right? I don't know if anybody else has, but that game really feels like there's an upgrade path for your boat, right?
Yep.
And I maxed out the upgrade path maybe halfway into the game, which really diminished my motivation to want to finish, because it's like, well, I can't, there's no more upgrades for the boat. So I don't know if you ran into that problem or felt that way, but that's what happened to me.
I wasn't collecting enough of the items to be able to unlock
the
different stuff. So I went back to it last week, and I was kind of like, why do I feel like my boat's so slow? And I'd completely forgotten about all the upgrade options.
Right.
And so I was sitting there and I'm just like, man, I'm not going out doing a whole lot of fishing like I probably should to get things.
Sure.
And then it was like, oh yeah, there's all these upgrade options. But yeah, I'm sure that if I had spent the time to collect the items instead of focusing on just collecting fish,
sure,
I probably would be, because I've kind of lost interest in like doing the quests in the game. And I was just like, I just want to go out for a little fishing cruise right now. And
during the day.
Yeah. I don't want to do this at night. I'm fine during the day.
Anyway, so that's where I've been at. Dredge and Dune 2. But it's been fun. It's a nice little game.
And I beat Valhalla. So I
you did?
pass that.
Finally.
Yep.
Nice, Travis.
Yep, finally. And so then I started Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, okay.
I started it twice, because at first I just kind of rushed through the character creation, not knowing if I would like the game, because I don't know anything about the Harry Potter universe and it doesn't really appeal to me at all. And then I ended up, it's out there, and it was on sale, I think, is when I picked it up. So it had just been sitting there, and the reviews were like stellar for it. So I was like, whatever, I'll give it a shot. And then I played it for, I don't know, about 2 hours. And then I was like, oh, actually, I think I like this. So I'll go back and take it for real now. So I went back and created a new character and went through the actual tutorials, because one of the things that I didn't anticipate was that combat's a little bit involved. I approached the game thinking it was going to be a kid's game and that combat was going to be just super simple, and it was a little bit more involved than I thought it would be in that, so I had to go back and kind of learn it.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, the combat is super simple.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's simple as you're going.
Yeah, it is.
If you go through and as you play it, you'll start to realize it's rock, paper, scissors.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
and to be honest, last night it started feeling like, okay, this isn't as, I felt like I was maybe tricked a little bit into thinking it was more through the tutorials that it was more involved than it really was.
Yeah, it was interesting to sit there and play through it, and then I don't know, probably 5 hours in, I realized it's just rock, paper, scissors, and I'm like, oh, if they're using this spell, I use this one, I'll always be able to beat them. I'm like, it's kind of clever in the way that they trick you into thinking that it's like just this complicated system, but it's just rock paper scissors.
Because right now it feels more complicated. If you're thinking about a action role playing game, it feels more complicated than say Witcher 3 did.
Yeah.
Right. Like, because that, or even Assassin's Creed kind of has a little bit of this, spell with sword play sort of stuff. And since Harry Potter doesn't have the sword play, even though the wand, it seems to basically be the equivalent of that, and the dodge mechanics, I was like, oh, there's also all these other spell slots that I haven't unlocked yet. This is going to get complicated very quickly. And so I got kind of like, oh, I probably should have paid attention to those tutorials in the beginning as opposed to just plowing through this. And, so I went back. Like I said, I'm pretty naive when it comes to the Harry Potter stuff. So I thought it was that its core audience was, 10 to 14-year-old, sort of thing, or maybe even younger, like 6 to 14. And so I was thinking that maybe the combat when I first started the game was going to mirror that. And then through the tutorials, I was like, oh, it looks like it's more nuanced than I thought it was. And it doesn't feel like a Witcher style game.
I think they wanted to make it feel like this was a game that every age could jump into and play. Mm-hmm. I mean, I read the books, and
mm-hmm.
I have to give her credit for taking and doing a lot of foreshadowing throughout the books.
Yeah.
So if you read them, you can kind of see what's going to happen in later ones, or something she talks about in a later one that happened earlier. But it definitely is one of those games that I was expecting it to be geared towards the younger audience, and I felt like it was anybody could pick it up and give it a try. And I think they did a good job at making it something that's fun for anybody to play.
Well, and it has a lot of little puzzles in it. Like, it has a lot of little variety to it. Like, I was doing the number puzzles last night, right?
There's an achievement or trophy that you need to you can only get if you collect all the demigod statues, and there's like over 100, or maybe it's more than that. But if you don't have like a cheat guide, or you're looking at YouTube tutorials, there is no way in heck or hell that you're gonna be able to find them all, because they are so freaking hidden. Maybe you're playing this game for the rest. This is the only game you're playing for the rest of the year, and you're just looking for them. You got more time than, I don't know. It's crazy. If you find one, you'll be super happy. But so I beat the game too, and I'm like you, Travis. Like, I'm not into Harry Potter at all. Like, I watched some of those movies, I fell asleep.
Okay.
The game is definitely worth a playthrough. Okay,
cool.
I agree with Chris. The fighting isn't that challenging, but it's fun to explore, and some of the more adventurous some of the places you'll go to in the game are kind of fun, and flying around on the broom is really fun.
Yeah, the area where I stopped and thought it was more complicated than I had given it credit for was where in the tutorial, it's kind of the tutorial area where I still am. There's an area where, like, you go down, you're getting this book in the library, in the Forbidden Library, and
you learn the unmentionable spells. What do you call it?
Well,
you can do the dark spells, the dark arts spells.
Yeah, but I was at the part where, like, you've got to take on 6 to 8 of those statues at once. Like, they unlock 2 right away, then 4 all come at you. And then I was like, I won, but I had downed my healing potions in the process, because I was kind of still trying to figure out, okay, how does the dodge mechanic work? How does the parry mechanic work? What are my spells doing? Things like that, because, like I said, I just kind of glossed over all of it. And so I was like, okay, I won, but now I wasted my healing potion, so I'm going to restart the whole thing. And so that's why I restarted it, was I felt like that. Now, maybe that's the one, like in a lot of these action role-playing games, when you're under-geared in the very beginning, they seem a lot more difficult in the beginning of the game than it actually ends up being 2 hours into it for the rest of the 60 hours or whatever. So I just kind of was like, oh, I'll just restart the whole thing and pay more attention. And also I wanted to pay more attention to the actual, like, surroundings and story, because, again, I saw one of those Harry Potter movies, and that was about it. It's not that I disliked it; it just wasn't really my thing.
I think the real weird part of the game is when it starts going into the beasts part. Chris, maybe you know what I'm talking about. Like, you'll
where you collect magical.
You have to go
beads
capture a beast in the wild, and then
the
it's
water
like
Davian creatures.
Yeah, and then you have to breed
go to a furry
them.
convention.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be next. Then you get to breed.
That's next, yeah.
You got to breed these animals, and they're just like for your like. And
so they're like Pokemon things.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Pokemon thing. And you gotta you say you need to make a potion, but you need a feather from this bird. The only way to get the feather is you have to breed the bird. That's what it gets like. It's like really like what?
Just out there with the little mini plot stuff. Like
it's not necessary. Yeah.
The third game that I did. So I fired up another game. This one was completely random. That was also in the backlog. That's kind of in a tie right now for which one's actually going to get my time is Max Payne 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So I did fire that one up, and I spent about an hour in that. And you know, I didn't beat Max Payne 3 back when I bought it. I don't know why. I think I fired it up, and then for some reason it just didn't catch me. And so yeah, I installed that, and then I played that for about an hour, and then I switched over to Harry Potter, and Harry Potter kind of
stuck
for right now. Yeah,
sure.
As long as it doesn't get too weird. As far when I mean weird, like to where it's like over
the furry convention.
When you gotta start breeding your beasts.
I
want to know your thoughts on it.
We'll see.
We're gonna get some weird audiences if we keep talking about breeding beasts here.
Well, it's like that's what you do in the game, though.
Okay,
like you gotta go out and you hunt these. You hunt these things, and then you gotta breed them.
I'm sure you do.
That's in the game.
I believe you. I know I was late to the party, so apologies if this is rehashing. I think we've already talked about, but the Stellar Blade update. Has anybody played that yet?
I am. No. Are we talking about Stellar Blade now?
Yeah, the Stellar Blade update, because we were all upset. We being the gamers, right? We're all upset that they took away our costumes, and apparently they've reintroduced some of the costumes.
Oh, okay. I heard that they introduced some new costumes. I didn't hear that they.
Okay, yeah, they're new, but they are, I guess, revealing in the way that the old costumes were.
Is it making the people that were upset that they get to see less boobage?
That's what I was going to ask. I haven't played the game, let alone the update, so I wanted to know.
I'm just at the point right now. Like I'm still at that final boss, and I can't beat him, and it's starting to piss me off. I've gotten all the way through. I've beaten every other boss. I'm at the final boss.
The update adds another boss too, I think.
It adds a boss mode where you can consecutively fight the bosses.
Okay.
And I guess if you go all the way, you get another costume. But I'm starting to get frustrated. I'll try it again this week. Like if I can't beat this thing, I said it last week. They give you a choice at the end of the game. You can either go this way or that way, and I'm thinking maybe I made the wrong choice. I don't know.
So when it comes to these longer games, you switch. Like I don't really do that. Like when I say I'm gonna play a certain game, if it's one of the longer ones, right? Like where it's got progression and all of that stuff, and you can save your game as opposed to like a classic arcade game. I stick with it and like I don't switch. Like if I get frustrated like I have in some of these games, I stick with it. Like I can't like set it down and go do something, but it sounds like you do actually, like, because you've got a few games that you're playing right now, right? Like that are longer games, like the Paper Mario and all that. And then you're talking about going back and beating this one. So you haven't just given up on it. It still haunts you.
I want to play Hellblade right now, but I feel like that's a game I can't play in front of my kids.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I got to do it when they're asleep. And so like a great game, like I want to play with, I play with them real easily is Paper Mario. So you got to be juggling it. And
I get it. I do that too. Yeah. Okay. I do.
Yeah. And sometimes you want to take a break too. Like another game, like I'm just playing mindlessly right now is still MLB The Show 24.
Sure.
Like,
right.
Season 1 is almost done, and I have been playing some games online, but there's a lot of grinding in the game, and it's just mindless fun. But I'm already over 100 hours into this game, and I didn't think I would be, but I am.
Yeah, I was talking more about the epics, like because you were talking about
Yeah.
the Paper Mario. So I was thinking that, oh, that must be your primary game. And then when you mentioned that you still got this other one that you want to beat, I was thinking like, gosh, I don't really do epic games. Like I always will play Pinball Effects
Yeah,
or
sure.
a game like that, you know what I mean? Like just to kill time. But when it comes to the
Right.
epic games, like I tend to only have that one live until, you know, until
Well,
I give
I
up
thought
on
I'd be
it.
finished with Stellar Blade already, but I'm not.
But
It's
that
pissing
last
me
boss
off.
is just a killer, huh?
Yeah, you guys will have to get this game, and you'll see what I mean. I don't want to spoil anything, but man, it's starting to piss me off.
There's a point. There's a point of diminishing returns on taking a break on the
Exactly.
game. So when like 2 years ago, my brother got me a copy of ActRaiser for the Super Nintendo, which is a game I remember we rented and we liked it, but we never owned it. So I got a copy and I blasted through it and got to the last boss. And the last boss is one of those where you have to fight every boss before, and then you finally fight the last boss.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten to the final boss, but never with enough hit points to win. And so you get so frustrated, you're like, okay, I'm just going to take a break. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and now I've forgotten all the muscle memory on how to beat the bosses before the last boss. So I'm just totally hosed and probably have to just restart the entire game again.
Can you imagine the Elden Ring DLC is coming out, Chris?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to get it. I don't know if you. I know Travis, you played Elden Ring too, but you didn't like it.
Well, but I give it a solid B.
But we haven't played it. I feel like we haven't played it in a couple years now. Like
you're gonna be rusty.
You get dropped back into that universe. Like I don't know what the heck. Like I'm gonna have to play this game for a couple hours again just to figure out like what the hell I'm doing. Yeah. Much less try to fight some of these bosses.
Yeah.
So
well, I just beat it. I think in December. So
okay,
I should sink back into it pretty easily. But oddly enough, I don't know if it's because I keep seeing pop-ups of the DLC being advertised. I actually thought about firing it back up just to run around in it. Like
that might be smart.
Yesterday. But yeah, no, it's not. I mean, I think that game will always bother me as to why I don't think it's as great as everybody else does. Like I think that'll still bother me.
I want you guys to have different opinions than me and Chris or whatever. Like,
well, I think that was a joke in Seinfeld, right? Where Elaine goes to see the English Patient or whatever, and everybody's talking about how great it is, and she just is like, "That movie sucked." Like, and I feel like that's like how it was with me with Elden Ring. Like I was like, so like this is going to be great. It's one of the greatest games ever, and I was like, it's a good solid B. It's a good game, but I wouldn't recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, that's fair. Everyone's got different tastes,
but the DLC, I don't know.
Maybe they'll change your mind with the DLC. But you're seeing advertising for the DLC, but Microsoft can't push Hellblade 2 for some reason.
Yeah, well, that game hasn't gotten great reviews though. Like from what I saw, it on the Metacritic or whatever, it's been kind of hit or miss, right?
I think it's getting like an 81 last I looked.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay.
I think anything in the 80s is good.
Yeah.
See if I can find it real quick here. It's getting an 81. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's not bad.
Well, I did want to bring up, since you were talking about Max Payne 3, Remedy Entertainment that made the first two Max Payne games has been trying to work with Rockstar to remake the first two.
I would jump onto it. I replayed the Mafia games, that's a very similar style, right, to the Max Payne stuff. I replayed the remakes of those, just because I like that style of gameplay. I just think it's kind of fun, And the Max Payne 3 was scratching that itch, but at the same time, it just. I don't know. I was like, I got that Harry Potter game. I should probably check out.
Well, and it also from what I remember of Max Payne 3, it's a different game than the first two were, because it's Rockstar that developed that one, and so it felt more like they were trying to go for a Grand Theft Auto feel, over the Max Payne feel, but maybe I'm just remembering it wrong. Old age,
or I may not
up
be
all of
far
us.
enough because I only made it through level 2. So, but right now it is still very level based. Nothing about running around yet. Now maybe that'll get added into it, and I'm just not there yet. But so far it feels to me like I remembering Max Payne feel. But Max Payne, I played that on the original Xbox. So it's been that long ago.
That's what they were originally on, was that one.
And I thought it was a great game back then. I remember thinking, this is one of the best games I've played, the first Max Payne.
I think I think the first one was the first introduction of bullet time in video games.
That sounds right. Yeah,
it's the first time I remember it, right? Yeah. But I figured that it was a mechanic borrowed because, again, I didn't have the background of playing the classics. I figured it was a mechanic borrowed from like side-scrolling games.
No.
Okay, I guess not then. Yeah, but yeah, I would totally, if they're doing a remake of it, I would totally jump into it. Like I would jump on that. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like Remedy's improved with the way their games play and everything, because they went on to do Alan Wake 2, and their combat's definitely improved, and the storytelling for the games has gotten so much better. So maybe they'll go back and redo some of the story from the original Max Payne.
So I have Alan Wake 2. That was on the list of what should I play next after beating Valhalla. But I read that it has a bunch of annoying screamers in it. And since I game oftentimes in the same room as my wife sleeping, like I was worried that would cause me to startle too much or whatever. And I thought that might get annoying quickly. But maybe there was too much made out of that.
I think there was one moment when I played through Alan Wake 2 that there was something that startled me. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, it's really not. Okay. It's not scary. The thing is, though, if you want to get the actual ending of the game, you have to play through it twice.
Oh, that's annoying.
I hate that.
You should play Don't Scream with your wife. Play that one.
Yeah.
Hey Chris, play You Have a Mouth, but what's that?
I have a mouth, but I must scream.
Right. Or you can just put on headphones.
But on the second playthrough, it changes. Like, there's a lot of things that change within the levels and everything. So
okay.
I kind of played through the first chapter on my second playthrough, and then I stopped playing it, so I haven't completely beat it. Mm-hmm. But Alan Wake 2 was an amazing game.
Okay, I'll play it. I mean, I have it, so it'll get played at some point. I'll just, I don't know. I was going for, obviously, with Max Payne, I guess to the earlier conversation that I joined in on, it felt a little too serious for my mood at the time. I think that's why I gravitated more towards the Harry Potter, was because it didn't, wasn't as dark as the Max Payne 3 was when I jumped into it.
Do you guys think they're going to do a physical copy of now I can't even remember the title. You guys are just talking about it. Do you think they're going to do a physical copy of Alan Wake 2? Maybe they'll do it. No. Are they going to push that out this year, you think?
I don't think they will, because Epic Games paid to publish it, so they wanted it on their digital storefront.
This is
they're still really trying to mount the war against Steam.
Yep.
And
they
sad.
I love the fact I can get free games from Epic Game without
me too.
buying anything, but it's
I think that's the only thing I bought from them was free games. Thank you.
That's all I use them for.
Tetris Effect. I bought Tetris Effect from Epic Games to play that in VR. That was, I think that's the only legit purchase I've made from them. I did pick up the Dragon Age 3 for free. Like I did, just so that I have something on the backlog to play, and that got like a reskin and a remaster, I think, just recently.
Meatball Saucy, if you're into sound design in games, I always bring this one up. Anytime sound design comes up, Thief 3, Deadly Shadows, Robbing the Cradle, scariest level of any game I've ever played.
The
sound design alone is terrifying, but yeah, great.
Whoa. Wife and child dying at the start is disturbing. They play on that context for the entire game. Ooh.
Yeah, that was for
maybe Alan
Max
Wake.
Payne. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
not Max Payne, right.
Yeah, for Max Payne, right? Because that's the whole origin story.
All right. I guess it's been an hour and 20 minutes. That flew by. Any final thoughts, you guys? Travis? Or not Travis. Dathan, you doing okay, bro?
Yep.
Professor?
It's it's been a long week. But no, not really. It's a good week of gaming. I'm hoping to finish Assassin's Creed Mirage hopefully by the end of next week. Hoping to be done with that. And then I'll fire up some Hellblade, and I will bust out the headphones for it, and hopefully it doesn't scare the shit out of me like other games. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, cool. Get to the part where you're in the caves and it's just dark. And
now, is this the game where I'm going to need to turn off all the lights in the basement down here? And
possibly. I was playing it at one point. I've got a TV and there's a window behind it, and the sun was coming in the window at one point, like hitting like the background. And you're trying to concentrate because you're like in total blackness and you're trying to find the little bit of light to go to. And the window was coming at me. I had to shut the curtains and try to like really focus, like where am I supposed to go? Because if you go the wrong way, you die.
Mm-hmm.
So, it might be helpful to play it in total darkness.
So was the first Hellblade, because I only played a part of it in VR, that's worth playing through and beating? Or have you guys done that one?
I went back to it this week.
Yeah, okay.
I went back to Hellblade and started playing more of it. The point I'm at right now, I have to go find, is it Sutra, the god of fire? Mm-hmm. And it's puzzles is what I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
But because of the fact it's like, she's got so many different voices talking to her, because it's supposed to be like she's actually got psychosis, schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm just like, okay, where do I go? What do I do? There's all these like symbols floating in the air and all these voices talking to me. And I'm just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
But you guys are playing it without playing, Dathan, you're playing it without playing the original one?
Yeah, I'm just going to go right into number 2.
Okay.
And you can, because at the start, because I started up Hellblade 2, and they actually give you like a recap of the first one. She kind of they
give you a recap, but I don't think it's that good. It's just a guy talking. I don't know. I kind of checked out during it. Yeah. Well, at least
Who wants to watch that?
We're talking heads anyway. They didn't even have a talking head.
Yeah.
I have another criticism really quick for Hellblade. Like the character, like she's all beaten up and she's in a boat at the beginning and she's like, you crash into hell and you're like trying to walk around all dirty. But she's got these white teeth, like perfect white teeth. Like, how are your teeth so perfect? Like, it's like, and she's always like, it's like it seems like you'd be missing a couple teeth or what? I don't know. You'll see what I mean. Like, you're like,
yeah,
how are your teeth so nice?
It's charcoal toothpaste.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Crest whitening.
Do you guys like playing games where like you're in hell or something? There's some games I like being like on a tropical paradise and like Sea of Thieves, like when you're on the island.
Doom was the original.
Yeah, Doom
right?
is
like,
right.
in a way.
Sure.
Did you guys ever play Dante's Inferno?
It sounds familiar, but I don't remember if I did or not.
It was
like a 90s game, right?
No, it was a 360 game. So it was 2004, 2005. But you essentially went to hell and 2010 is when it came out. And
I mean, it's like the Diablo games, right? Like in a way they're dark, and sometimes you're kind of like, I think I want to be on a sunny island. Like to your point, right? Like, didn't Far Cry kind of do that? Didn't Far Cry throw you like on a nice little island? And
Yeah, but like
Mhm.
I played a lot of Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, and that wasn't exactly relaxing either. You know what I mean? Sure, I was on an island, but
you were on an island.
I think Diablo, like you play that, it's not like third person. It's like you're above them, like as a god
Mhm.
looking down, and you're watching. It just this compared to Hellblade, like you're right there, third person over the shoulder. You're
Mhm.
seeing all this stuff. That's what they need to make Diablo kind of like, I think. But it's much more in your face about some stuff. Like playing Diablo, I think I beat the new one, Diablo 4.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not there's some things in it like that part where you got to chop off the girl's arm.
Mhm.
Maybe that's could be a little intense, but it's not like you're like viewing it right in your face. You're
Mhm.
viewing it at a distance. So I don't know, maybe some of the camera angles make a little bit of a difference to me anyway.
Yeah, I grew up watching, so many horror movies that and did for forever that I think that I'm kind of desensitized to all of
Yeah,
that.
right.
Like, it just I just see it as like I do see it as a thing. And now for the past like 6 years, I think that's where I've kind of stepped away from that type of art and moved more towards, like I said, like where do I go to just relax? Like I said, like we were talking about earlier a couple weeks ago with VR, for me that's kind of part of the issue, is that it not always because of the darkness, but actually because of also the light. Like it just sometimes you just feel like you just want to relax, and some of the darker games, they're not so relaxing anymore, uh, for
I
some
just now
reason.
know if they come out with the Extreme Beach Volleyball 5 or whatever that is, I'm gonna send it to Eric.
You gift
And
Eric a copy.
in
yeah,
VR, very relaxing.
in VR. Anyway, guys, it's almost an hour 30. Thank you for watching the show. We really appreciate it. If you give this video a like, really appreciate it. Help out the algorithm and help push the show out. Consider subscribing to myself, Asa Jack's Media Grounds. Asa Jack's Media Grounds got some new subscribers this week. His channel's starting to take off. Thank you, Meatball Saucy. And if any of you guys have any final thoughts before we go, we good?
We're
Yeah.
good.
We'll
Yeah.
see you guys next week.
Yeah. Have a good week.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
You too.